Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where I talk about anything, everything, and, well, anything about movies. I'm your host, Chase Lee, and listen, if you guys were going on the internet to stumble across, make some, shitty-ass, like, pumpkin pie recipe or whatever, and you accidentally came across my podcast, and you were not a movie fan, well, hey, maybe I can convince you to be one. So this is episode 101, guys. I just want to thank Izzy for coming on last week for episode 100. That was a big-ass milestone in this show. But we're gonna continue to truck on, man. And I'm actually going to hit the 2-year mark in a few weeks. But on today's docket for 101, we have a bunch of movie news, guys. Like, I wrote on my notes, there's like 8 things to talk about. There's like 4 trailers that dropped, and I'm going to do my reviews of Steve Jobs, the movie with Michael Fassbender, Seth Rogen, directed by Danny Boyle, written by Aaron Sorkin, and my review of Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, because I did see that, because I'm a huge fan of the franchise. We'll get to that when we get to that. And then, of course, the box office results for the weekend. But before we begin, guys, if you're listening on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or SoundCloud, and you want to see my beautiful looking face with some chest hair poking out because I got one of those shirts on today, and you want to see my arms flow around like Kermit. Hi, Kermit the Frog here. If you want to see that and you're not disturbed by my face, then there's going to be a video link in the description below. If you are watching on YouTube and you only want an audio-only version of this podcast, link will be in the description below for that. So without further ado, guys, it's just me today, no guests. So let's begin. There's a lot of movie news, so I honestly don't know where to begin. I guess a good place to start is there is 3 movies in production right now. 3 movies just started filming, so I figure why the hell not? Let's just do all 3 of them back to back, and I'll just give you my thoughts on my anticipation levels for all 3 of them. 3 movies that started filming this week. We have War of the Planet of the Apes, the 3rd film in this kind of Planet of the Apes prequel, leading up to the original Planet of the Apes. Another one is Underworld 5, and the other one is Jack Reacher 2 has just begun, and it also has a title. It's Jack Reacher Never Go Back. Now, I have not read the books. I have not seen the first movie, so I have no idea what that subtitle means. I guess, Jack Reacher Never Go Back to the first one. Because I heard mixed things on it. I heard it was kind of crappy. So I don't know. Okay, anyways. Anticipation levels for all 3 of them. Underworld 5, no one gives a shit about. I guess if you are a fan of that series, then this is great news for you. But in terms of my anticipation levels, they're non-existent. Listen, I own the first 3. I think the first one's really fun. I think the second one's really fun. The third one's a really cool prequel. Didn't see the 4th one, nor do I want to. I don't care anymore. It's kind of like the Resident Evil franchise, man. I'm done. And it kind of applies to the Paranormal Activity franchise. But we'll get to that, folks. We'll get to that. But anyways, I'm just not a huge fan of the series. So if you are, number 5 is filming. It's underway. So I don't know when it comes out. I forgot, but there you go. And then in the 3rd film, that was all 3. I'm an idiot. I can't count today. I'm more excited for the 3rd Planet of the Apes film. I love Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes even more. I love the original movie with Charlton Heston. It's just a really good prequel kind of trilogy that they're setting up, and so I'm really looking forward to War of the Planet of the Apes. They had Steve Zahn to the cast. They had Woody Harrelson to the cast. And then, of course, we're going to get Andy Serkis doing some really cool mocap performance with Caesar. It's poised to be great, hopefully. So I'm more excited for that. Jack Reacher's 2, sure. I might check the first one out eventually. If I get sent to the sequel for a press screening or whatever, I'm going to be a little confused because I hate jumping into franchises. But so I might check out the first one. I'm intrigued because I do like a good old Tommy Cruise there. So, and then Underworld 5, no, I don't care. I just don't care. And if you like the franchise, to each his own, man. I'm glad that you found something, but for me personally, it's a no. So those are those 3 pieces of news. The next piece of news is that The movie Gambit. Speaking of Planet of the Apes, Rupert Wyatt has left the project, and he was the director of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And they're kind of looking at a bunch of options right now. But the leader right now in the list, or whatever, the top of the list, is Doug Liman. And he directed Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He directed the first Bourne Identity, and he directed the recent Edge of Tomorrow, which is a very nice, surprising little hit. So him directing a Gambit, I'd be okay with that. When I saw Edge of Tomorrow, I was kind of blown away on how realistic and gritty and like dirty the violence was in the war scenes. I thought they were really well handled. And if you brought that kind of grounded reality to this, guy that can throw cards and is, big into magic. I'm not like a huge Gambit fan, so I don't know the full extent of what he does, but I do know it's more supernatural than anything. To where if you brought like a grounded reality to that, that'd be really badass. So I'm actually all for this. I love Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think that's a very fun movie. I haven't seen the Bourne Identity in a long time. So, hey, they picked Doug Liman to direct the Gambit movie. Go for it. And quite frankly, they need to pick someone fast because that movie's supposed to come out next year in the fall. They haven't started shooting yet because they're still trying to find a director. So find one, Fox. Get up on that. So, anyways, so that's it for that. The next piece of news is that Kingsman 2 is coming. And I said this from the get-go that it was going to come there was a sequel. I think it was like a few episodes back, but the first one came out in February of this year, and it completely dominated the whole Valentine's Day market. It was like, honey, do you want to go see 50 Shades of Grey and see really terrible erotic scenes, or do you want to see Kingsman? I saw both of them. Kingsman's the better movie. And a little side rant on 50 Shades of Grey. Listen, if you're going to go do this trilogy, and if you're going to do this trilogy, Universal, I have a little suggestion. I'm not ashamed to say that I watch porn. I do. If you're going to sell your movie as this BDSM erotic thriller of sorts, make it fucking erotic, okay? No one wants to see this PG-13 little slap in the ass shit, okay? You want to see this R-rated hardcore shit because this is what we paid to go see, okay? So make your movies dirtier. It's astounding that Kingsman was actually raunchier and more hard R than 50 Shades of Grey was. Anyways, it dominated that Valentine's Day weekend. So the sequel is actually coming out in the summer of 2017. That's awesome. I'm glad that 20th Century Fox has the confidence to, take this little small hit wonder and make the sequel go into the summertime. Me personally, I've listened to a bunch of other podcasts on this news, and I agree with most of the other people. Dominate February, man. Go against the sequel to 50 Shades of Grey. You know how badass that would be? So, I don't know. I mean, that's great. I love the confidence. You're moving into the summer, making it really compete with everything, blockbuster related. What's really funny, because I think one of the movies that's going against is Cars 3. So, Little Junior, you want to go see Cars 3 or Kingsman 2? I want to go see Kingsman 2. I want to go see another ass sex scene. I don't know. Is that what kids call it? Ass sex? I'm 25 and I just call it ass sex. It's anal sex. That's the first one. Anyways, yeah, no, I like the confidence, man. So I can't wait for the sequel. I thought the first one was a great little action film, and everyone remembers that church scene with good old Freebird playing in the background, and it still has not left my memory. I still love it. It was one of my favorite scenes of the entire year. So that's that piece of news. The next piece of news is that John Hamm, good old John Bacon, John Pork, whatever you want to call him. Oh, it's John Hamm? Okay. Anyways, he's going to be in Edgar Wright's new film, Baby Driver. Now, I don't know much about this movie, nor do I want to know until I see a trailer. I do know this is a heist film, which is ironic because he just got let go from a heist film, Ant-Man. So it's almost like he was like, all right, Marvel, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna do my own heist movie. And they're just like, oh, okay, fine, Edgar, whatever. And now he's doing it. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it. Huge fan of Edgar Wright. Love Shaun of the Dead. Love Hot Fuzz. Love The World's End. The guy is a great filmmaker. He knows how to bring action and comedy. He's one of the best in the business. I'm not even joking. So I'm looking forward to Baby Driver and having John Hamm in this movie. It's just awesome. Like I don't know what he's playing, but I'm assuming he's probably going to interact with the main character, which is her name is Baby, and she's driving and everything. She's the driver. So I hope that he interacts with the main character a lot because he seems like he would fit in well with the Edgar Wright kind of kinetic universe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. All right, so next piece of news is that Peyton Reed. He directed the first Ant-Man. He directed The Breakup, which I own because Jennifer Aniston's very attractive from her backside. But yeah, he directed the Ant-Man. I was looking forward to Ant-Man regardless of who was directing it. I thought Peyton Reed totally delivered in blending that action, that humor, and just kind of a fresh revival of Marvel. It was something new, something we haven't really seen before. It was quite an enjoyable, fun ride for the summer. That's for damn sure. Anyways, he's in talks to come back for the sequel. Duh, this makes sense. When your movie is kind of an unknown like Ant-Man and it makes $460 million worldwide, you better bring your director back. And, Christian Harloff from the Schmoes, I was, listening to their show or whatever, and, he said that he went down there for set visits and stuff, and, he asked Peyton, would you want to come back for a sequel? He's like, of course I would. And that's what I really like about Peyton Reed, is it seems like he is a true fan of Ant-Man, which boggles my mind. I don't know anyone that's a fan of Ant-Man, but thankfully this guy is a fan of it. That way he's not just directing it for a paycheck. He's actually putting his passion and creativity behind it. I love it, man. And, I reported, 2 weeks ago that the title is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Am I still okay with the title? Sure. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm still trying to wrap my head around if that's a good title or not. I think for the tone of this movie, it's still fine. Hopefully it doesn't wear off on me. So yeah, I'm okay with the title. But Peyton Reed coming back, awesome news. All right, and the last piece of news, I have to address this. I got to put my 2 cents on this. It's just something I have to talk about. Now, Amy Schumer, the good old Schuster, the good old Schmuster. I got to come up with a different nickname. Anyways, she got paid $300,000 to be in Trainwreck, and then she also wrote it as well. So that is her combined total salary for both jobs that she did. She's going to 20th Century Fox for her next movie. Universal did Trainwreck. 20th Century Fox denied her pay raise of $10 million asking. Basically, she went in there and she's like, hey, Trainwreck was a huge hit. I want a bigger paycheck. So she asked for $10 million, and they settled for, I think, $5 million. And a lot of people are up in arms about the whole equality thing and, the money between male and female and stuff. I just want to give my 2 cents on it. Hope I don't offend anyone. I believe that there should be equal pay between male and female, whether you are a fucking alien, if you're green, if you're whatever. There should be no discrimination between anyone in life in general, especially with pay. I think men should be paid equally depending on what it is in the movie. Now, Jennifer Lawrence, came out and she had this whole letter and stuff about how she got paid way less than her male co-stars in American Hustle. She was barely in that movie. So I don't think her getting a pay cut is a bad thing. Now listen, if you were the main character and you were the forefront and you were in 75% of the movie and you're getting jacked from your supporting characters, that's a different story. But the fact that you weren't even that big of a part in American Hustle and you got paid less makes sense. I mean, that's just keeping it real, guys. But like I said, if Jennifer Lawrence was the main character in American Hustle and she got paid way less than like Bradley Cooper or Christian Bale, yeah, I'd fucking protest, but there's no reason to. Okay, you were barely in the movie. Amy Schumer, listen, whether you like her or not, she is a huge hit with people. She just is. Am I the biggest fan of her? Not really. But I did enjoy Trainwreck quite a lot, and she does have acting chops, and I can't wait to see what she does with her career. Her stand-up, I think, is pretty good. Now, I saw her at the Oddball Comedy Festival last weekend, and I thought she was pretty good. But, I liked the other comics better. But, whether you like her or not, like I said, she's a huge success with audiences. Now, whether that hype train is going to die off in 5 years, I don't know. We have to... You have to keep putting her in stuff and see people keep responding the same way. Because if they don't, then yeah, you axe her and she'll just have to do supporting gigs or just keep doing her stand-up and find another Comedy Central show. Anyways, she wants a pay increase from $300,000 to $10 million. Amy, that doesn't make any sense. Now, $5 million? Sure. I'll buy the $5 million. Because Trainwreck was made for like $30 million and it made 138 worldwide. It's like I told you guys, rule of thumb, double the budget, and that's when your film breaks even. It pretty much doubled that. So it made a pretty good profit for what it was. You got paid $300,000. I think that's fine for your very first movie because they didn't know how this movie was going to turn out. What if it flopped? Your $300,000 is justified. Now that it was a huge success, your $300,000 seems a little wimpy. Maybe you got some back-end points. I don't know. I don't know what your deal was. But the fact that you want $10 million for your second movie? No. Like, that's your second movie. Now, listen, if this was your fifth, seventh, eighth movie out and you were a huge success in all your movies prior, I'd say $10 million is justified. I have no problem with that. But the fact that this is your second film, your direct follow-up to Trainwreck, and you want $10 million? No, don't do that. Now, listen, I don't have a problem with people going in and like asking for a set price. That's the way with any job. Your boss, like if you have a job interview and they'll ask like, what's your asking price? And you'll be like, this $20 an hour, or, $50,000 a year. I don't know. They'll either take it or they'll shoot it down. Like that's just the way business is. So I have no problem with Amy Schumer going in with asking for $10 million. I just know that you're probably not going to get it, and don't be upset about it because it's your second movie. I think $5 million is generous. If anything, I'd probably cap it off at maybe $3 million, maybe $2 to $3 million is what I would probably give her pay and stuff. So, I don't have a problem with her asking for $10 million. Just know that you're probably gonna get shot down. Just don't really make it into a huge deal, and take that $5 million, take the $3 million or whatever. I think it's a huge pay increase from $300,000. I'd be totally happy with that. So yeah, listen, should pay inequality exist? Hell to the fuck no. I don't think it should at all. I think men and women should get paid according to what their fucking roles are in the movie. If you are a main role, you're in 90% of the movie, hell, 100% of the movie, every single fucking frame, and you're getting paid like $100,000 and it's like a big budget blockbuster. No. You need to negotiate that shit and change it. Whether you're a male, female, dog, tree, a rock, a spread of peanut butter, whatever the fuck you are, you need to get paid equal. Now, if you're a supporting character, you're in the movie for literally 5 minutes. If you are a Anne Hathaway and Les Miserables, blah, 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 and you get paid $1 million, be okay with that because you're in the movie for like 10 to 15 minutes. So it just depends on what your role is. But I don't think inequality should exist regarding the pay gap wage in Hollywood or just in jobs in general. So that's my 2 cents on that. Amy, cool it. If you're still a huge success with audiences further down the line, yes, ask for 10. But I honestly don't think it was part of Amy's fault. I think it was her agents and stuff being greedy. Hey, listen, Amy Schumer agents, it's her second movie. Calm the fuck down. So whether Amy went in there and she did, or it was purely her agents or whatever, regardless of who asked for 10, I commend you for asking for 10, but don't really be shocked if you get a no. That's all I'm saying as your second movie out. So with that being said, guys, that is the news portion for this week. It was kind of a long one, 20 minutes in. Damn. All right, so let's get into the trailers. And I'm going to leave the good old Star Wars for last because I'm not a huge fan of it. And I'm going to tell you okay, we'll get to it. Okay, so let's start with the first trailer that dropped. Now, there was a teaser trailer that dropped for this movie a while back, and I talked about it or whatever. Now we get a full trailer, and I kind of got a feeling of what the tone is, what it's going to be like, and that would be Joy. This stars Jennifer Lawrence, speaking of her, and speaking of American Hustle, directed by David O. Russell, who did American Hustle and Silver Linings Playbook. And what I can gather from this movie is that we basically follow Jennifer Lawrence's Joy, and we see her just go through life, have a kid, have a family, have a job, and we just kind of see her grow up. Robert De Niro's in this, Bradley Cooper's in this, and it looks like it's going to be really funny. There's a line in the trailer that Robert De Niro gives about comparing his wife to a gas leak. It was hilarious. But there was also like some dramatic emotional punches to the trailer. I liked it. I dug the tone and stuff. Am I going to check it out on Christmas Day? Probably not. I really want to check out way more before Joy, but you know, if I get sent to a screen, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm not like going to rush out to see it, if you catch my drift. But Joy looks fun. It looks like it's going to be funny, have that kind of fast American Hustle flair with the heart of Silver Linings Playbook, with no boxing violence of the fire. It'd be cool if he mixed all three together. But it looks cool. Like I said, I'm really liking the fact that Robert De Niro is trying in movies now. I'm liking the fact that he's actually, in recent years, he's kind of done a turnaround and stuff. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Can you hear me? Are you that old yet? No, that was rude. That was rude, guys. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. I shouldn't be downsizing like that. Anyways, yeah, Joy looks fine. If you're a fan of American Hustle or Silver Linings Playbook, check out the trailer. I think you might enjoy it. So anyways, the second trailer we're talking about is finally, Jane Got a Gun dropped its first trailer. And you're thinking to yourself, what in the hell is that? I'll tell you what the hell that is. That is a movie that's been having so many problems, I can't even count. If you guys remember the story that I spoke about way long ago, I'm probably talking like last year, Lynn Ramsey was supposed to direct this movie. She did not show up to set. Like, she completely just did not show up to the first day of set. We still don't know what happened or anything. And from that point on, actors were swapped in and out. But Natalie Portman, God bless her strong fucking soul, she stayed along with the project from start to finish. Anyways, it's a Western starring Natalie Portman, Joel Edgerton, and Ewan McGregor. And it's directed by Gavin O'Connor, who directed Warrior with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. The trailer is a Western. It's like a revenge tale. Natalie Portman killing some bitches, killing some assholes, I guess. Looks fine. Maybe if I start hearing good reviews, I might get a little interested, but I'm so disinterested with this movie at this point that I can't. There's been so many stories about this. I just don't care anymore. But the trailer does look promising. If you like Westerns and stuff, check out the trailer, Jane Got a Gun. You might enjoy it. I enjoyed it for the most part. I just don't know if I really want to like go out and see it. We'll see though. Anyways, not a bad first trailer for all the problems that it had though. I will give it that. Anyways, third trailer is Daddy's Home with hey, how's it going? It's Mark Wahlberg. Hey, did you guys see the other guys? That was a really funny movie. Me and Willie Ferrell are back in the movie. Daddy's Home. I played the dad, and he plays a stepdad, and we get into a bunch of antics and shit. Anyways, sorry for that. Or am I sorry? Anyways, Daddy's Home stars Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, and it is a comedy, stepdad versus dad. Mark Wahlberg plays the father of Will Ferrell's stepchildren and the ex-husband of his current wife. And a bunch of antics ensue. It's basically like Step Brothers, just with stepfathers and fathers. Looks funny. It looks entertaining. I just really hope they didn't blow most of the jokes in the trailer. I can't tell if this movie is going to be PG-13 or R. I think after watching the trailer a few times, I think it's going to be rated R, or no, excuse me, rated PG-13, just like the other guys. But it'd be kind of cool if it rated R. But anyways, I can't really tell. The tone's actually kind of kiddish a little bit. It's got a little PG vibe going on, and that's what it says on IMDb. But don't listen to IMDb; they haven't had like an official rating for the movie yet. But yeah, the trailer looks funny. I just hope they didn't spoil most of the stuff in the trailer and stuff. I'm looking forward to the movie. It comes out Christmas, just like Joy. Christmas is gonna be weird, man. It's like Daddy's Home, Joy, The Hateful Eight, Revenant. So it's like 2 westerns, a Will Ferrell comedy, and a David O. Russell movie. Oh joy, pun intended. But yeah, it looks funny. That's all I gotta say. I really like the other guys. I think it's a very funny movie. It's not my favorite Adam McKay movie. That would probably have to go to probably the original Anchorman. That's probably my favorite Adam McKay movie thus far. But I've liked this whole filmography. I love Talladega Nights. I love Step Brothers. Anchorman 2 is very fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And the second to last trailer before I get into my little Star Wars rant is Jessica Jones. This is the Netflix series. We finally get a full trailer. Do I still know what it's about? Nope. Nor do I want to research it. I don't want to know what Jessica Jones does. I'm just going to go in blind, pun intended, like I went in with Daredevil, and I was completely blown away by what they did with Daredevil. I'm looking forward to Jessica Jones, looking forward to Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders. Yes, Marvel and Netflix. These two parents just created one of the best little babies last year with Daredevil. Or no, this year. Holy shit, it was this year. I can't wait to see their second child, Jessica Jones. So I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on. And bring on Daredevil Season 2, because I think that drops next year as well. So, all right, so those are those trailers. Little trailer dropped this week called The Force Awakens, Star Wars. I'm not a big fan of Star Wars. Do I like the movies? I do. I like them quite a bit. Am I like a super hardcore fanboy? Oh, hell nah. And you're probably wondering, why the hell do I have the VHS copies right there in my room? I'm pointing to them right there if you're watching this on YouTube. I think it looks cool. It's a good decoration. I'm actually going to give them away to a hardcore Star Wars fan. I just don't know what kind of giveaway I want to do yet, so tune in for that. I'm a big comic book guy, as you guys can see. So I don't get annoyed with Star Wars fanboys because I can be a little bit of a fanboy myself when it comes to Marvel and DC. However, this movie comes out in 2 months. I still don't know what the movie's about. Now listen, are these Star Wars fanatics, old school and new school, are they going to go see this movie? You bet your fucking ass they are. And they probably have attributed to this, crash on movie ticket sites. I just have a feeling that Disney and Lucasfilm are completely just relying on nostalgia and the fact that it's got the original characters in there for ticket sales. I feel like they're playing on nostalgia way too much for this franchise. And because Disney and Lucasfilm are not dumb. They know that you're going to fucking buy a ticket if they just slap the logo on there. That's how powerful this franchise is. And I know that I'm not going to win. Star Wars fanboys are just as bad as Marvel and DC fanboys. We truly are. But we're one and the same. It's just my problem with DC and Marvel, they at least have trailers where they have story. And we know what the fuck the movie's going to be about. The Star Wars Force Awakens trailers, 2 of them have been teasers. This is the first full-length trailer, and we're 2 months out. Because Disney knows they could drop a fucking bomb of a trailer 2 days before it comes out. And it still won't fucking matter because it's going to rake in so much cash. And the fact that this movie is poised to be probably the biggest grossing movie of all time now is kind of irritating. There was a great article I read. I forgot where it came from. I apologize. It's not my article. I am referencing a site. I'm not stealing anything. There was a great article on, the title was, Why I Don't Want Star Wars The Force Awakens to be the biggest movie. And essentially what it boiled down to was, the biggest hit movies, whether you like them or not, are Avatar and Titanic. And what are those two movies? Two original movies. And that's what makes them fascinating, is because they struck a chord with people, and that's what made them climb to their 1 and 2 spots. That's what makes them fascinating and kind of unpredictable. With Star Wars, it's not predictable or unpredictable. It's very predictable because it's a built-in franchise that Disney and Lucasfilm were relying heavily on nostalgia and just throwing you images of Han and Leia and little quotes. Like, they are badass quotes, by the way. I'll get to my review of the trailer in just a second, but I just hate the fact that they're relying on that. It is so misleading. And then, ticket sites crashed and like people got their tickets. Good for them. I'm really happy that people gravitate towards that franchise. I really am. But it just irritates the fuck out of me when you're trying to get people that are not really big Star Wars fans and you want them to go see it. Do I want to see this movie? Yes, I want to see it. Am I a fan of the franchise? I am a fan. I am a casual fan. Just like I'm a casual fan of David Fincher. Like I'm a casual fan of Darren Aronofsky. Well, actually, I'm more hardcore on them than Star Wars. But you guys get what I'm saying. I'm a fan of the movies. I'm not saying I hate them, because I don't. I own the 4th one. I'm getting 5 and 6 soon. It's sitting right there. I'm pointing at it. But I just feel like they needed to put more in the trailers instead of just flashing you images with a very loud John Williams score, which is great, by the way, to just get your testicles in a bunch and having you jerk off all over your computer screen because they showed an 88-second trailer of just images. You know what I'm saying? Listen, am I glad they put out a full-length trailer? Sure. And here's my review of the trailer. Does it have a little bit of the story? Barely. Like, I just know that the Rebels and the Jedi and the Sith are going to go at it. Kylo Ren's going to go destroy shit. That's all I know. But I don't know really anything else. And they're keeping everything so secret and so hidden. I wish there was a little bit more. Now, visually, does it look great? Oh, fuck yeah, it does. It looks great. I'm glad that JJ is bringing practical and CGI in a really good mix for this movie, because it looks outstanding. Like, there's some pristine cinematography in this trailer, folks. I loved the shot of Poe Dameron, like, hitting, what's his name? John Boyega's character, Finn. Hits him on the shoulder, and the camera kind of does that little spin back to Finn's face. It's camera movements like that made me go, wow, they actually did some new stuff here, and it looks really good. So the special effects look amazing. The cinematography looks really great. And, hey, as a casual fan, I ain't going to lie, I got a little chill down my spine. It was the very last shot. When Finn, John Boyega, pulls out his blue lightsaber, and Kylo Ren pulls out his red one. I love that shot because you saw like in the narrowness of Kylo Ren, his arm, like you can see John Boyega's face, and he looked like, oh shit, like when he pulled out when Kylo Ren pulled out his lightsaber. So that gave me chills a little bit, because I was like, that was like the moment right there where John Boyega was like, oh shit, I'm gonna fucking die. So I ain't gonna go into the trailer that much. You guys have already seen it. I'm not, like I said, that hardcore of a fan where I have to dissect everything, but I will tell you I enjoyed the trailer. I wish there was a little bit more story so we know what the fuck is going on. So you can try to reel in people like me to make us be excited for it as well, even though I still am excited, because I like visually what I see so far. So I am looking forward to it. But overall, it was a pretty good trailer. Not a great trailer. It was pretty good. That's just my thoughts on it. So, and another thing, I'm tired of hearing about it. So that's it. It's the last time I'm bringing it up. Probably won't bring it up until that weekend when it comes out, when I probably will make it the main focus on the podcast. So that's it for good old Star Wars. Done talking about it. So with that being said, guys, for all the news stories and the trailers, comment the place roll up on my face and tell me if I'm fucking wrong about Star Wars. Tell me if there's story there. I want to know. I really am, because maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe I'm just blind. But let me know what you thought of the trailers this week. Any news stories that you want to talk about, let me know in that comment box below my face. So let's get into the movie reviews, guys. So I saw both of them yesterday. Literally, I saw back-to-back, did not pause. And first of all, I hate my Crohn's disease so much because it makes me go to the bathroom unexpectedly. So I missed about, not even joking, not even that much, 5 minutes of Steve Jobs. But I'm pretty sure I didn't miss much, like plot-wise and stuff. So I'm just giving you guys as a caveat. I can't help it sometimes. Sometimes my body is just uncontrollable. My bowels are just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I'm just like, God, I fucking hate Crohn's. Anyways, just figured I'd give you that as a caveat before I started. Which one do you guys want me to start with? Steve Jobs or Paranormal Activity 5, The Ghost Dimension? I'm going to start with Paranormal Activity. Because this is going to be kind of my love note towards the franchise and kind of the funeral for it. I'm gonna RIP this franchise. So we'll start with that one with Steve Jobs. Okay. I'm a pretty big fan of the Paranormal Activity franchise. Ooh, I know. It's like super shocking. It's like blasphemy just coming from my fucking lips. I actually really like the franchise a lot. I think the first 3 are actually pretty damn good. And as a trilogy, a solid trilogy, they're terrifying, they're suspenseful, and I love horror movies that keep stuff in the dark and it's unknown and we can't see what the main characters are seeing. That to me is more frightening than CGI demons. But we'll get to that. I think the first 3 are very solid. Hated the 4th one. I don't know what it was about it, but I just did not like the main characters because they were teenagers. I didn't care for it. And I didn't like the fact that they added Skype into it and stuff. And I actually liked Unfriended. So that's what was really weird about it. But I just think adding that Skype element into a Paranormal Activity franchise didn't work for me. The first movie made sense for the cameras. The second movie made sense for the cameras. And so did the third one. But as far as the rest of the movies, no, they don't. Paranormal Activity 4 did not care for. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, was okay. And then at the very end, there's something that happens that ties in with the first one. I was like, okay, I can kind of dig it. We got some supernaturalness going on with this, witchcraft and this, coven type of theme. So I can kind of dig it. So I was really looking forward to Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. Now, they say this is the 5th one because technically the marked ones is a spinoff. I say bullshit. I think this is the 6th one, but I put Paranormal Activity 5 in the title because that's what it is called. So I was going into Ghost Dimensions. I wasn't expecting much. But I because they said this was the final one. This is the final Paranormal Activity movie in the franchise. And so I figured, okay, this is going to wrap up a lot of things. This is going to give us, all of our answers and stuff. Okay, I can get behind that. Let me compare the franchise like this. The first movie is a kid. It's very adorable, and it does, some. Let's compare it to like an actor. So they're a child, and the first one's a child, and they're really cute as a child star and stuff. The second movie, they're a teenager. They're still doing their thing, man. People still love their antics and stuff. And number 3, they're kind of like in that 20s-ish range, and they're doing all these raunchy comedies and stuff. And people just really like the third one. They love it, man. And then their shtick starts to get old after a little bit. So the 4th one's kind of like, oh, man, I'm just not, no, I ain't buying that, man. And they're in their 30s at this point. Now, they hit a midlife crisis. They're in their 50s, and they're just like, I got to change up my shtick. So they change it up just a hair in the marked ones and stuff. And we can kind of respect them for trying something new, especially with the end on how the marked ones ended. The Ghost Dimensions is like they're an elderly person trying to do the same jokes from 70 years ago. Watching Ghost Dimensions was really pathetic, and it makes me look like an asshole for vouching for the franchise. So let me explain why. Watching this movie in its entirety was a chore. Now, I'm not going to lie, these Paranormal Activity movies, they're very slow burn, but I think that's why the first 3 work. Because of the unknown and what we can't see, that's what's terrifying, keeping our suspense and our terror levels up here the entire time, not knowing what the fuck was going to happen next. When you make your demons scene and we can see what's going on. That suspense and terror it's gone. It's vanished. It's got the fuck out and left Fresno, man. The fact that we could see these CGI demons took away any suspense and any terror from this movie, so it was a chore to watch, and it was actually kind of boring. I don't even know how to do this, man. All right, let's just get into the directing and the writing. Now, with these Paranormal Activity movies, the directing is very key because you have to know how to build suspense and how to build that tension and that terror. That's why I like the first three. You don't know what's going on. These dogs are barking at, stuff in these dark hallways, but you can't see them and stuff. That's what I really like about it. This one, because now I do look like an asshole for vouching for the end of the marked ones. Because, granted, they do explore a little bit of the marked ones and how that all works and stuff, but not really because they didn't really explain anything. They didn't. They just like, oh, it's back. You can travel into other dimensions and stuff. There's tunnels in your fucking room. It's not a spoiler. It's on the poster. So when you add CGI monsters, it takes away the suspension and terror. This thing was convoluted to the max. There was nothing really satisfying with this conclusion. If this is in true form the last Paranormal Activity franchise, this climax was such a letdown, and it was so anticlimactic. It was like it just ended like all the other ones. So I was like, oh, there's going to be another one, right? No, like this was the conclusion. It was just fizzled off. Once again, let's compare this whole franchise to Sex now. The first three, you're rocking it, man. You and your boo are just like fucking doing it, and you're just like, woo, damn, this is fantastic, baby, fan-fucking-tastic. Then the fourth one, you guys take a break, and you're just like, man, I'm just not feeling it. We've just been going on for too long, man. And then the fifth one is like, okay, we're getting back into it. It's pretty good at this point. And then this one is like, you're going, and then the climax is supposed to happen, and it doesn't happen. So you have sex for 6 movies, and you don't come. That's the best way to describe this. So the directing is pretty bad. They follow the same formula as the other ones, and it was actually more of a chore than anything. And this is coming from a guy who actually liked the first 3 and the marked ones, respectively. The writing is terrible. It's atrocious. The acting in this one just seemed way worse than any other one combined. I just didn't like any of the people in it at all. The little girl was adorable. I will give it that. She was very adorable at the beginning, and then she came out fucking terror at the very end. So, but she was pretty adorable. Yeah, the writing is atrocious. The acting is all around bad. Oh dear God, is it bad? Like I said, it was just noticeably worse in this one than the other one. So it's like the producers wanted to wrap it up, put a little bow on it, but they just didn't give a shit on delivering a great climax. I wasn't expecting much. I just wanted a better conclusion to this. It's like if you redeem yourself with the ghost dimensions, I would say, hey, the whole franchise is pretty fucking solid except for the 4th one. So the cinematography is found footage. The one thing that bugged me about the cinematography is that you're messing with a camera. They messed with an old camera from the 80s, and it's shot in 16:9. No, my dears, that's not how it fucking works, okay? It was supposed to be in 4:3, and it probably would have made it even creepier if it was shot in that, and then you would cut back to a 16:9 camera. I would have been like, okay, at least they're keeping it consistent. So the cinematography is fucking dopey because they're working on an old camera that shoots in 16:9. It bugs the shit out of me as a guy that got his bachelor's in filmmaking. Fuck, I would make so much of a better Paranormal Activity movie. Give me money. Give me money, Jason Blum. I love you, buddy. I'm your biggest fan. Let me redeem the franchise. Shit. So the cinematography is what it is. They have stationary cameras throughout the house, and they have the roaming one. Whatever. The editing and the special effects. Like I said, this movie was a chore to watch. It was like an hour and 40 minutes. It felt longer than it needed to be. Was everything paced right for a Paranormal Activity movie? Sure, I'll give it that. Starts out with that slow build. We get to see the family, whatever. Then the priest comes in. Then the shit hits the fan at the end of the movie. I get that. At least they did that. The special effects were awful. And it's like, if you're going to make your demons noticeable, if you're going to make Toby this like visual looking thing that we can actually physically see now, don't make it look like the fucking symbiote from Spider-Man 3. I think Jeremy Johns put that very, very clearly. It looks like fucking Spider-Man 3. Like, that's how bad the special effects are. There was one fucking shot at the end of the movie. The demon's face hits the camera in the worst 3D fashion ever, and I will get to that in just a second. It looked like a Halloween ride. I live in Texas. I live 15 minutes from Six Flags, and they have their Fright Fest every year. Fright Fest's effects are better than what I fucking saw in this movie. Those effects were terrible. Do not make your demon scene. That's what made the first three work, okay? God! Next thing. This movie was in 3D. Now, granted, I'm actually surprised that this movie didn't hit the 3D train like 4 movies ago. I actually give it props for not doing it until now, but they shouldn't even done it in general. But I do give them props for at least shit, like they let the first three stand on their own. The 3D was awful. It was pointless. I've seen like a few movies in my life to where like I would take off my glasses as I'm like watching the movie just to make sure the 3D glass is not mine, but like I would make sure like, is this in 3D? Is it? Nothing. There was no reason to make this in 3D. 3D is supposed to add depth. It's supposed to add like a new layer to the experience. This didn't add shit to it. It was just a gimmick to try to get money from this movie that was in select theaters, mind you. When I get to the box office results, you'll see what I mean. So the 3D was pointless. Guys, this was a pointless movie, and it kind of made me irritated that this was the last one, and the climax at the very end was very it was just there. They just spooged all over the screen for you. Like, were there cool ideas in there? Yes! And I've always been behind the mythology of this Toby demon feeding off children. And we finally get an explanation as to why, though, but it was still kind of anticlimactic. It was like, okay. And at the very end, you figured, oh shit, are we going to see Toby finally? Nope. No, we didn't. Guarantee you, most of you that are listening, you ain't going to see this movie. I ain't going to spoil the ending, but I'm going to tell you this. You see Toby, you just don't see much of him. I just anticlimactic for a conclusion of a franchise that I have vouched for. Terrible writing. The suspense and the terror is not there because we can fucking see the demons now. The acting is atrocious. The cinematography bugged the shit out of me because it is not a 16:9 shooting frame. The special effects are fucking garbage. I give it a D. And the only reason I'm going to not give it an F is because I still enjoy this franchise. I still enjoyed some of the ideas in it. I just wish they would have explored it a little bit more. Like, and I don't know, kind of answer some things as to why this camera can see little goo particle, little sperm particles in the air. So there's just a lot of stuff unanswered. And they tried to wrap it up, but it was so lazy. It felt like just another one in the franchise, and it felt like the conclusion is going to come out next year or something. Just weak climax, yo. Weak fucking climax, yo. That's just ridiculous. That's why I give it a D. I'm not going to give it a pure F because I still enjoyed some of the ideas in it. I just wish they would have explored it. But other than that, that's all I can vouch for. So a D for Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. This movie was in select theaters because a lot of theater chains, they boycotted and did not want to have it in their theaters because Paranormal Activity 5, The Ghost Dimension, is going to hit VOD in like 2 weeks. What's the point then? People are just going to wait until they get it at home. So, yeah, because this movie only opened up in like 1,600 theaters. That's nuts. Guys, the first three opened up in like 2,000 plus, 3,000 plus. And would get like a $50 million opening weekend. That's how crazy this franchise is. But after number 4 was a success, so was the marked ones. But this one just, people are getting tired of it. Move on, man. Jason Blum, I love you, buddy, but move on to a different franchise, okay? Keep doing Insidiouses. It's almost like the whole franchise is split into 2. Like, the more I thought about it. The first 3 standalone as a good, solid story was still enough suspense and kind of up-in-the-air questions that don't piss you off, but make you kind of just like your mind goes to those places like, well, shit, what's going to happen next? Like, where is that going to go? That's really creepy. Like, ooh, is that going to happen? Like, that's more satisfying to me than 4 through 6, because 4 through 6 almost seemed like a completely different franchise. It did, because it did go into more supernatural stuff instead of more, demonic stuff and more like witchcraft and stuff, which I guess witchcraft is supernatural-ish, I guess, but they went into like supernatural stuff. So it's almost like 4 through 6 were a completely different franchise. So I'm telling you this right now. The first 3 are very solid, and they are very good. It's a very good trilogy. And it's really cool how they play out, because if you want to play in chronological order, it goes Paranormal Activity 3, then 2, pause number 2, watch 1, and then finish 2. You watch it in that order, it's great. Like, that's the chronological order, and it's fantastic. I love it. It's a solid franchise. So D for the Ghost Dimensions. Did you really expect anything higher? Actually, I kind of did, since I was looking forward to it. But yeah, the Ghost Dimensions is just as bad as number 4, man. The CGI bugged the fuck out of me. Anyways, that's my review of Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension. So if you have any questions or any concerns, I guess, or if you saw it, liked it, hated it, whatever, comment place with my face and let me know. Now, that was the first movie I saw out of the day. I did that on purpose so I could see this and finish off the day strong. That would be Steve Jobs. And that would be the Danny Boyle directed, Aaron Sorkin written, Michael Fassbender, Seth Rogen, Kate Winslet, and Jeff Daniels acted spectacle that I saw yesterday. Excluding 5 minutes in the second act, I did see the movie. But like I said, can't control my bowels sometimes, guys. I know it's disgusting to hear. I'm sorry, plug your ears. But it happens sometimes. It happened to me last year with Need for Speed, but I didn't mind missing that. But Steve Jobs, I love this movie. Now, when the movie was over with yesterday, I didn't know how to think about it. I was just like, I really like that. But I had to sit on it and kind of think about it a little bit. I absolutely love this movie. I think it might be my top 10 of the year. Shh, don't tell anyone. I don't know where it's going to be yet. Damn, I don't even know where to start, man. Like, it was a different kind of movie, unique experience. Now, I've heard some people really praise this movie. I've actually heard some people say, it's really good, just not for me, which is respectable, because this is not a movie for everyone. Let me explain why. Let's get real and break this down, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start with the directing. Now, at first, David Fincher was supposed to direct this, and Christian Bale was supposed to be Steve Jobs. They swapped out for Danny Boyle directing Michael Fassbender. Yeah, such a downgrade. Shit, that's still great. Danny Boyle directed Slumdog Millionaire. He directed Train Spotting, 28 Days Later. The guy is a very versatile director. He's pretty much hit every single genre, which is what I love about the guy. This one's going to be like one of those, I'm going to go ahead and say the word, man. I think it's going to be a classic for Danny Boyle. I think this is one of his best movies he's ever done, period. The fact that Steve Jobs was such an asshole, and which, listen, before I begin my review of this, I actually like the Ashton Kutcher Jobs. I do. I think it's a very solid movie. Does this one blow it out of the water? Yeah, it does. But in terms of the directing, Danny Boyle really knew how to make this film kinetic and seem super fast in the Birdman aspect, where I felt like I was watching the backstages of like a play, like what Birdman did, and how kinetic and how fast-paced it was. This movie's broken up into 3 literal acts, 1984, 1988, and 1998. And there were 3 separate product launches of Steve Jobs. The first one being the Apple II, I believe. The second one being the Cube from his company Nex. And then the third one is the first iMac. And we see the behind-the-scenes energy of Steve Jobs and his manager or marketing person played by Kate Winslet. And, Steve Wozniak played by Seth Rogen. Jeff Daniels playing John Scully. We see all these people interacting with Steve and stuff. And we see him just kind of talk to all these people that kind of connect with him in some way, shape, or form. And we'll see occasional flashback or whatever to what, was going on and stuff. But for the most part, it's just Steve talking to these people. And at the center of this movie, at the core of it, is a father-daughter movie. It really is. Because if you guys don't know the story, Steve Jobs in real life denied his daughter. Like, they took blood tests, it was a match, and he still denied her. So, like, in the first act of Steve Jobs, he denies her heavily. In the second act, he still kind of denies her, but not really. And in the third act, he really kind of embraces his daughter, but it's a little too late at that point. So we see that Steve Jobs is an asshole, but what Danny Boyle did was also add a little bit of heart to him, a little bit of likability to where we can go, okay, he's not all that bad. We can kind of understand where he's coming from. Because we delve into more of his backstory and stuff and why he's the way he is. And the one thing you have to respect about Steve Jobs is that he was a guy that didn't care about money. He wanted to change the world. You have to respect that. He wanted to change the world as we knew it through computers. And that's awesome, man. I'm glad that he didn't care about the money that much. And he was more of, hey, man, I have this idea. I want to change the world. So I give him full props from that. But like I said, what Danny Boyle did was create this really fast, kinetic energy, kind of like what Steve Jobs is. He's a very kinetic person, and he's a talky type of person, but he makes the movie flow so well because he's so interesting. Like, he's such an asshole. He is. Like, he's a very arrogant person that screws a lot of people over, denies his daughter, but you're just so fascinated with him because it's like, why are you like this, man? Like, and then towards the tail of the movie, like, you see him kind of open up a little bit and he's a little bit more likable, but it's just like, damn, dude. And so it's almost like watching this really fascinating train wreck that's making computers. But no, the directing is so spot on. It is so perfect. And just the way Danny really incorporates Sorkin's script, which I'll get to in just a second, the acting and the cinematography and just the way it's edited together. I think it's a perfectly directed film. It really is. Now, some people's complaints is that this movie only focused on those 3 lead-ups into the product launches and stuff, and they would like to see more of what Steve Jobs does in his spare time and, when he's not working at Apple and what he does on the weekends or whatever. I personally would have liked to have seen that as well, but I think for what they did, they tried something different, a literal 3-act structure. It would go from 1984, boom, 1988, boom, 1998, and that was the movie. So for what they did, trying something new, I think they did a great job. Would I have liked to see a little bit more of Steve Jobs just in his spare time? Sure. I would have loved to. That's what makes anyone human, seeing any great icon portrayed in movies, is you want to see what they did in their downtime. That's what makes them more fascinating and more human. So, but overall, Danny Boyle, thank you, sir. Well-directed movie, which brings me into the script. Aaron Sorkin, man. This fucking guy, let me take a drink of water while I think about this. Aaron Sorkin is like the fuel to every single movie that he writes. And what do I mean by that? The guy is a literal star in his own right. Every single line of dialogue in this movie was beautiful, poetic, chaotic, smart, funny, really depressing. Like, there was just a lot of good emotion throughout this entire script to where it was a tight script, man. From start to finish, that thing was nailed down. All the actors said their lines, and it was so good. There were so many good lines. Every time when someone said a line, I was like, that was really good. I'm going to remember that. Oh, screw that. I'm going to remember this one. That was going. I said that for about 10 lines, and the only one I can really think of that I can remember is that Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs are in their garage, creating their first computer, and Seth Rogen says, a computer is not supposed to have human flaws. I'm not about to create the first one with yours. Boom. It's lines like that that make you go, Aaron Sorkin is a genius. He is so good at writing a screenplay. He's one of the best of this generation, hands down. The guy is amazing. The script is so airtight. It is so sharp. It is so quick. And it fuels the movie, man. Danny Boyle had his car. He drove it down. He got lost on the side of the road. Aaron Sorkin came by and fueled his car up for him. That's what he did. This is just, It is a dialogue-fueled movie, but everything is on point. Everything made sense with the script and the story. Nothing was out of place. It is a perfect script. And I'm calling it right now. Aaron Sorkin is getting that Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay because this is from the book, adapted from a book about Steve Jobs and stuff. So he's going to win Best Adapted Screenplay hands down. The guy deserves this. One of the best scripts of the year. So let's get into the acting. Does Michael Fassbender look like Steve Jobs? No, he doesn't. If anything, you could argue more that Ashton Kutcher looks more like Steve Jobs. But Michael Fassbender, man, during the first act, it kind of took you a little while to get used to just because he doesn't look like him. But once you get past that, dude, the guy's electric. Dear God, he completely embodied this asshole nature of this man, but also giving him some heart and just really showing us probably what Steve Jobs was like behind the scenes. So I think Fassbender killed it, man. Is he going to get an Oscar nom? Damn right he is. He is amazing in this movie. I loved Michael Fassbender. I love him in general, but this is one of the best roles he's done. But I hear in Macbeth, he's pretty awesome. That comes out in December. But as of for right now, this is the best role I've ever seen him do. Actually, no, I take that back. 12 Years a Slave and this one are like really close for me because in 12 Years a Slave, he was a despicable fucking prick, but he pulled it off. So Fassbender was great. Kate Winslet was amazing. The one thing I liked about Aaron Sorkin's script, yes, it was broken up into 3 literal acts, but I saw the transformation between all the characters, mind you. Steve Jobs, Kate Winslet, Seth Rogen, Jeff Daniels. I saw the progression from act to act to act, just like a normal movie, even though it was kind of told kind of uniquely and different than a traditional movie with a little bit more substance to it. I'm not saying this movie doesn't have any substance. I'm just saying it is literally 3 lead-ups to product launches. That's all they are. But they still added character developments in there and a little bit of the story in there and what these people are and just the progression of them. And every single character had a progression. Kate Winslet at the beginning was really high-strung. She was active. She was in this. And by the 3rd act, she was so beaten. And she was like, Steve, you need to do the right thing for your daughter and stuff. And it was crazy how that transformation was. Jeff Daniels was amazing. This fucking guy is having a great year. Do not be surprised, and mark my words, do not be surprised if this guy gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Steve Jobs and The Martian. This guy's having a killer year. But he's really great as John Scully. But I got to do it, guys. My boy Seth Rogen totally brought it. I have seen a dramatic performance from him in Take This Waltz. He's really good at it. This blows it out of the water. This is the best role he's ever done. I'm talking comedically, dramatically. It's the best role he's ever done. This was a guy, Steve Wozniak, who created most of, these motherboards and, the hardwiring and all the numbers for these computers and stuff. But Steve Jobs still screwed him over. But you know what was great about Steve Wozniak is he still kept going back to him because he was his friend. It was the only person that was like vouching for Steve Jobs at one point. The progression of Seth Rogen's character was great. At first, in the first act, he is so, I don't know how to describe it. Like he's really enthusiastic for Steve, and he's like, "Hey, could you give me some credit, and announce me and stuff, and say good work or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll get to it." And then by the 3rd act, he was so in Steve's face. He was like, "Dude, you can be gifted and decent. You don't have to be an asshole." Like it was amazing. I love Seth Rogen's performance, especially in the 2nd act of this movie. With Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs in the orchestra pit, and Steve is like, or Seth Rogen is like laying everything down on Michael Fassbender. That was a beautiful scene. Seth Rogen, my word, was he in it enough? No, I wish there was more of that guy. Will he get nominated for Best Supporting Actor? Wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know if he will, though, only because he wasn't in it that much. But then again, we've seen supporting actors and actresses have like 5 minutes of screen time. And if they make an impact, they get nominated, son. So Seth Rogen might get nominated, which would be fucking awesome. So yeah, Seth Rogen kills it. Jeff Daniels, Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet needs to get supporting actress for sure. I loved her in this movie. Jet Daniels, like I said, super electric. I loved when him and Michael Fassbender went at it. Loved those scenes. So the acting, top notch. Cinematography is great. The first act, 1984, was shot on 16 millimeter. The second act, 1988, shot in 32 millimeter. And the third act was shot in digital. So that decision made by Danny Boyle, genius. It goes so well with the script and just the acting. Great choice, Mr. Boyle. Supreme. So I love the cinematography. Like I said, it reminded me of Birdman, not in the sense of like a one take, but in the sense of like the fast-paced energy to what was going on and stuff, and really just having those nice kind of long takes down hallways and stuff, and just moving with these characters. So the camera's always on someone. If it's going from one person to the other, it'll jump to that. It'll just do it so flowingly. It was flawless. I loved the way it was shot. It's very, very good. Especially, like I said, with those the 16 millimeter, the 32, and then the digital. Genius. Editing wise, the movie's 2 hours long. Never dragged for me once. Like I said, you might find this boring if you don't really like dialogue heavy movies. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's dialogue heavy. That's all it is. It's dialogue fueled. Aaron Sorkin is the fuel for this movie. I liked it a lot, and I was completely engaged because I want to know more about the story. Even though I've heard so many stories about Steve Jobs, I've seen Jobs, I've read up on him. I pretty much knew everything going in terms of where the drama was going to come from, but this was still engaging. It was so good. Like I said, lines being delivered left and right, going, "Holy shit, that was a good line. Holy fuck, that was a good line." So completely engaged from start to finish. Great pace to this movie, and that. It goes with Aaron Sorkin's script. And that, like when I saw The Social Network, that was also written by Aaron Sorkin, directed by David Fincher. That movie flew by because Aaron Sorkin knows how to make tight scripts. He doesn't waste anything. He doesn't waste any dialogue. He doesn't waste any scenes. They're all there for a reason. And I was completely engaged from start to finish. Guys, I can't find anything wrong with this movie. Maybe, just maybe, but this doesn't alter my grades. Keep that in mind. Just maybe I would have liked to have seen more scenes of Steve Jobs being himself, not working at Apple, being at home, cracking a beer, watching some TV, knowing what he does in his spare time. I would have loved to have seen that. But for what we were given, which was this very unique 3-act structure that I haven't really seen before, I loved it. Like I said, even though it was just 3 product launch setups, we still got character development between Steve Jobs and his daughter, between Steve and Kate Winslet, between Steve and Seth Rogen, Steve Wozniak and stuff. We got progressions of everyone. I loved it. So we still had character growth and transformation, especially at the very end. Steve Jobs at the very end, he's actually so likable. You cannot believe what you just fucking watched. You're just like, wait a minute, he was an asshole for like 90% of this with some likability in there. But towards the end, you're just like, wow, he's actually trying. It's awesome. He's human. He's got some heart to him. So besides that story element, maybe of adding some stuff in there, I ain't going to dog on Aaron Sorkin, man. The guy's a genius. And for people out there that don't like dialogue-fueled movies, you might find it slow and boring. For me personally, I didn't. Guys, I can't really find anything wrong with it for what I was given. A+. Steve Jobs is one of the best movies of the year. It's one of my favorite acting movies of the year. It's one of my favorite scripts of the year. It's one of my favorite directed movies of the year. Guys, this is an ace movie. I fucking loved it. Steve Jobs, man, A+. Please go see this movie. Which brings up a fascinating question. Don't have a guest on this podcast today, but I'm going to ask myself this. Now, after seeing both of them, Jobs and Steve Jobs, do I think Jobs is still just as good? I'm going to say it's good for what it was. I still think it's a solid movie. And to be honest with you, Michael Fassbender is a supreme actor, and he's better than Ashton Kutcher in every way possible. But if they had Ashton Kutcher as Steve Jobs and Seth Rogen as Steve Wozniak, I would actually really like that combination. Not saying Fassbender and Rogen didn't kill it, because they fucking did. But if Kutcher and Seth Rogen played their parts in the same movie, that would actually be pretty fascinating. Now, just think about that. I think it would actually work quite well. Now, with Michael Fassbender and Josh Gad work, no, they would not. But I think Rogen and Kutcher would actually do pretty well. But I was just thinking about that yesterday, so combining best of both worlds. But as far as Steve Jobs goes, way better than Jobs for sure. It's just, this thing is directed, written, and acted to perfection. It's one of those movies that you need to watch if you are a filmmaker and if you want to get into writing, acting, and directing. It's just that good. So have you guys seen Steve Jobs, or have you even heard of it? Comment in place below my face and let me know if you've seen Steve Jobs, whether you like it. And tell me below, for people out there that have seen Jobs with Ashton Kutcher, what'd you think of it? Most people hated it. I'm like one of the only few that liked it for what it was. So that's my reviews of Steve Jobs and Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. Completely different movies, but that's what's great. I have a nice opinion on both. So Ghost Dimensions gets a D. Steve Jobs gets an A+. Bada bing, bada boom. So let's get into the box office results, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Okay, so the weekend, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. First of all, let me say there was 4 movies that came out. One of them made it into the top 5. Holy shit. It was a bad weekend. The movies that came out were Jim and the Holograms, Rock the Casbah, Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension, and The Last Witch Hunter. Let me tell you right now, The Last Witch Hunter made it in there. Nothing else did. Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension made $8 million, and it came in at number 6. Like I said, this was coming from a franchise where the first 3 on average would make about 40 to 50 million opening weekend. That's nuts how far this has gone down. Rock the Casbah came in 13th place with 1.5 million. Jim and the Holograms came in at 15th place. Now, this was actually produced by Jason Blum, who also produced Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. So he had kind of a cannibalistic weekend going on. It made 1.3 million. 1.3. I was talking to my buddy Brian, my co-host of Top 5 Saturdays Live, and I said, this movie's going to bomb hard, and it's going to probably do just as bad as We Are Your Friends. You know, that iconic movie that like completely bombed. I think only made like 1.7 million in its opening weekend. Jim the Holograms did worse. Totally called it. No one wanted to see this fucking movie. No one. You deserve it. Oh, wow. 1.3 million, guys. The theater average, it was in 2,400 theaters. I'm reading the numbers. The theater average was $547 per theater. That's bad. Jim and the Holograms cost $5 million to make. He needs to make about $10 million to break even. He ain't going to reach it. This might be one of the first losses in a long time from Jason Blum. Because even Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension, with making it $8 million, its budget, since it fucking added 3D now, is probably near from 6 to 10 million. So it's actually on its way to break even. But Jim and the Holograms, my word. Anyways, number 5, coming in number 5 was Hotel Transylvania 2 with $9 million. Its budget's unknown, but domestically, which is the U.S. and Canada, $148 million. Worldwide, it's $279. It's pretty good. Very good, Adam Sandler, since your last few were box office flops. Number 4, Last Witch Hunter with $10.8 million. Its budget is unknown, but it only made $10 million this weekend. So sorry, Vin Diesel. I guess if it doesn't have fast cars, it ain't gonna be Fast and Furious in theaters then. Yeah, that sucks, man. Most of it is standalone movies besides Fast and the Furious. They just tank. Number 3 is Bridge of Spies with $11.3 million. Its budget's $40 million, and domestically, there's no worldwide total yet. It's only made 32. Needs to make about 80 to break even. It's kind of doing bad, but you know, maybe worldwide it'll jump up. But it only dropped 25%, so it's not bad. from last weekend. Goosebumps came in at number 2 with 15.5 million. It was actually really close to the number 1. Domestically, it's got 43 million so far. Its budget's actually 58, so it needs to make about 118, 120 to break even, roughly. It's got a long way to go. I don't know when the worldwide release is going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be soon. And number 1, coming back into number 1, is The Martian, because it actually got outbeat by Goosebumps last week. So, but it got 15.9 million. Listen, guys, this is just the predictions. Tomorrow on Monday, they might completely change, but as of right now, The Martian's number 1 at 15.9. Its budget is 108, which means it needs to make about 216 to break even. Domestically, it's got 166. Worldwide, it's got 347. This movie's banking. It's one of the most profitable Ridley Scott movies ever. So, congratulations. I really enjoyed the movie a lot. So, there you go. So, anyways, that will do it for this week's episode, guys, of Real Me and Colin, the movie podcast. We had a stacked episode, guys. If you have any questions or comments on any of the stories or movies that I discussed, comment in the place below my voice and face, and let me know. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Real Chase Lee. Facebook page, YouTube, all that stuff is in the link in the description below. That's it, guys. Episode 101. So next week is episode 102. November 1st. It's the day after Halloween. Burnt comes out next week. Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse comes out. I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing Burnt, so I'll probably just have a review of that. Actually, instead of doing Scout's Guide, I will have a triple header. I'll do Room, because I saw Room already. I'll do Truth, because I saw Truth already. And I'm seeing Burnt on Monday. So I will have 3 movie reviews for you guys, which is perfect because they all release in Dallas on October 30th. Perfect episode for next week. So expect that, guys. I'll have 3 reviews next week for episode 102 of Real Me and Colin, a movie podcast. The intro and outro music is done by my friends band Fervent Roze. Check them out in the link in the description below. And once again, if you're listening on YouTube and you want an audio-only version of this podcast, link in the description will be below for that. If you're listening on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or SoundCloud, and you want a video version of my beautiful, oily-looking face, my good old Wolverine chest hair, link will be in the description below for that as well. So, I am Chase Lee, and listen, if you were not a movie fan and you listened to this entire podcast, well, hopefully you are a movie fan by the end of this. So, thank you for listening, guys. As always, I love you all. You guys are fucking awesome. You guys keep me going. Listen, this market is crowded with movie podcasts. I'm just glad that you guys listen to mine. It's awesome. You guys keep fueling me. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week for episode 102 of Real Me and Colin, a movie podcast. I'm Chase Lee. You guys have a good day, good night, whenever the hell you're listening to this. I will see you guys later. Let's play the outro music. Steve Jobs, man. Fucking awesome. Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension can suck my ghost dick. See you guys next week.